The Lewis and Clark expedition, also known as the Corps of Discovery, was an expedition to discover what was west of the then United States, and possibly discover the fabled Northwest Passage. The Northwest Passage was supposed to be an easy east-west water route. It is interesting to note that when the expedition departed, the West was not part of the United States, but belonged to the French and the Spanish. The expedition started off May 14, 1804, 45 men, a big keelboat, and 2 smaller pirogues traveling up the Missouri. The journey ends September 23, 1806, when Lewis writes to Thomas Jefferson,
"The Corps has penetrated the continent of North America to the Pacific Ocean."
In this video we explore Tuesday, May 14, 1805, when the men discover a brown bear. On Wednesday, May 8, 1805, in present-day Montana, the expedition reaches the Milk River, so named because it is the color of tea with a bit of milk. Lewis writes,
"The water of this river possesses a peculiar whiteness, being the color of a cup of tea, with the admixture of a tablespoonful of milk."
The Hidatsis call it the river which scolds, at all others. The Milk River is in northeastern Montana and is about 538 miles long. Its waters are derived from the Hudson Bay Divide in Glacier National Park. On Monday, May 20, 1805, the expedition reaches the Musselshell River. Lewis writes,
"We arrived at the entrance of a handsome bold river which discharges itself into the Missouri on the large side. This stream we take to be that called the Musselshell River."
On Tuesday, May 14, 1805, the expedition discovered a large brown bear. The following is a word-for-word account from the journals, written by Meriwether Lewis.
"In the evening the men in 2 of the rear canoes discovered a large brown bear lying in the open grounds, about 300 paces from the river. And 6 of them went out to attack him, all good hunters. They took the advantage of a small eminence which concealed them, and got within 40 paces of him unperceived. 2 of them reserved their fires as had been previously concerted. The 4 others fired nearly at the same time, and put each his bullet through him. The balls passed through the bulk of both lobes of his lungs. In an instant this monster ran at them with open mouth. The 2 who had reserved their fires discharged their pieces at him as he came towards them. Both of them struck him, one only slightly, and the other fortunately broke his shoulder. This however only retarded his motion for a moment only. The men, unable to reload their guns, took to flight. The bear pursued, and had very nearly overtaken them. Before they reached the river, 2 of the party betook themselves to a canoe and the others separated and concealed themselves among the willows, reloaded their pieces. Each discharged his piece at him as they had an opportunity. They struck him several times again, but the guns served only to direct the bear to them. In this manner he pursued 2 of them separately so close that they were obliged to throw aside their guns and pouches and throw themselves into the river, although the bank was nearly 20 feet perpendicular. So enraged was this animal that he plunged into the river only a few feet behind the second man he had compelled take refuge in the water. When one of those who still remained on shore shot him through the head and finally killed him, they then took him on shore and butchered him when they found 8 balls had passed through him in different directions. The bear being old, the flesh was indifferent, they therefore only took the skin and fleece. The latter made us several gallons of oil. It was after the sun had set before these men come up with us, where we had been halted by an occurrence, which I have now to recapitulate, and which although happily passed without ruinous injury, I cannot recollect, but with the utmost trepidation and horror."
And so ends the day Tuesday, May 14, 1805 for the Corps of Discovery. The men learned how difficult it is to kill a brown bear and would be much more careful in the future. Luckily no one was killed.